Obertura per a Gerard Noya, cama dreta a la centrada, buscant el segon pal, buscant el cap d'Albert Martí, compte perquè pot ser perillós, continua dins de l'àrea Albert Martí buscant una centrada, la pot caçar al pal i el gol! Gol, 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 gol! Acaba d'empatar Europa el partit al minut 11. Intentant protegir la pilota, se'n surt bé de la pressió de Rubén, obertura ara d'Alfons Serra, cap a Albert Martí, que té ganes de córrer, que té ganes de liar-le, compte la centrada de Carlos Cano! Gol, 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 gol! Gol de Carlos Cano! Serveti, que acaba recuperant la pilota camp contrari, juga enrere cap a Pitu, compte la centrada, el segon pal, la gol de Javi López i el gol. El gol del Cerdanyoles avança al minut 3, pràcticament. I aproxima Pitu, la demana dins, Javi López, compte la centrada, el rebusca, les botes de Pitu, gol. El segon del Cerda, Déu-n'hi-do, quin golaç acaba de fer Pitu. Al minut 2 de la segona meitat, es cursa distàncies al marcador conjunt de Toni Carril.
So as you saw, we go into tonight's second leg against Napoli tied at 2-2. To be honest, that first leg result, as disappointing as it was to have thrown away a 2-goal lead, was actually one of our better results of recent weeks because form has been incredibly poor since our last episode. We lost 3-2 to Valencia in the Supercopa in the last episode, and we followed that up by winning just twice in that time. Both of those wins coming in the Copa del Rey against teams that are not even in our division. We beat a third-tier team 1-0. Not so great, that one, before a 1-1 draw with Real Sociedad, a 2-2 draw with Sevilla, a 3-0 victory over Osasuna. No defeats in 5. Things were looking all right at this stage. And then look at the run that has followed. A 3-1 defeat to Las Palmas, who were 19th at the time. We then bowed out of the Copa del Rey, losing 1-0 to Barcelona, and we barely registered a shot during this game. We then lost to Villarreal in the league. We drew 2-2 with Valladolid in the league, having been 2-0 up. There's a familiar story, because it happened in the next game against Napoli. And then in our most recent game against Celta Vigo, we lost 4-2. And the last of those goals was pretty much typical of some of our play over recent weeks. You saw the mistake by Barossi against Napoli that gifted them a way back into the game. Well, we had something very similar in this game as Jose Muller just stumbled on the ball. Mostovoy then got it, and 25 yards from goal, he curls one into the top corner. We could not catch a break. You see, we'd switched to something rather mundane tactically for that game. It didn't work. So today, we're going back to the old faithful. But tactical announcements are not the only big news we've got for Begborough Steel. So that poor run of form has now left us outside the qualification places, not just for the Champions League, but for all European competition. We'd have to do a little bit of a rescue job during the final 10 games or so in order to get back into the top 4. But I've kind of realised over the last few months of playing this save that I think we have reached our ceiling. The goal of Begborough Steel was to see how far we could take a 4th-tier Spanish side without spending any money on transfers, and I think I have found my answer. I've managed to get them all the way into the Champions League, but I don't see us really progressing to challenging Barcelona and Real Madrid without being able to spend any money on transfers unless I grind away for the next 5 to 10 seasons developing youth players. I think in order to be able to match the big guns without buying any players for money, I would have to be producing my own wonder kids, and they have not started coming through the youth academy as of yet. I think the next 5 years would be a little bit of a grind, just trying to make marginal gains every year. I've got no players signed to come in next year because the scouts have not been able to find anything better than what we've already got at the club, and I think it could be a few seasons of toil, occasionally qualifying for Europe, maybe occasionally qualifying for the Champions League, before we were able to get to a stage where we could develop our own products of the quality needed to challenge the top two. So with that announcement, I've decided that this is going to be the last season of Beg, Borrow, Steal before we do something a little bit different on the channel. It also means that if we bow out of the Europa League today against Napoli, the next episode will be the last in this series as we fast forward to the end of the season to see if we can qualify for Europe. I think it's time for a little bit of a shake-up, although I wouldn't mind toiling away for 5 seasons trying to gradually improve the squad. I'm not sure it necessarily makes the best content to be watching the same season being replayed time after time, and I have come up with another save idea that I am quite attached to and a little bit excited by. It's going to be another challenging one where success is going to be incredibly hard to come by. But let's be honest, that's the only reason anybody comes over to this channel, to see how hard I can make conditions before eventually getting sacked. So we're currently lying 7th in Europa's season. I think we might still be able to qualify for the top 4 if we can somehow recover our season. But today, it's all about trying to extend this series by getting in to the last 8 of the Europa League. And so after all the tinkering we've been through over recent months, this is what we're going to go back for. Maybe I should never have ditched it. The one little change I have made to this system that we're going back to is that I am trying to force the opposition players inside, and I have dropped the line of engagement just to make us more compact in that midfield 4. But otherwise, this is the formation that got us into the Champions League in the first place. If it was good enough to do that, maybe it will be good enough to go out there and beat Napoli and extend this season so that we can reach the quarter-finals of the Europa League. Okay, we are underway. We're in our home shirts. We're looking to try and get through to the quarter-finals so we can have one more glorious evening at Europa's new stadium in Europe. Maybe even 2 more glorious evenings. But Napoli have got a player up front that scares us a little bit. He's called Mattias Arezzo. He scored in the first leg after Barossi kicked the ball right to his feet. And he is incredibly quick, incredibly strong, and a good finisher. Definitely the danger man for Napoli. And we've been in such poor form. Against Celta Vigo, we were truly awful. And I don't think we're going to have it in us in order to spring a surprise tonight. If we do, I feel we might be grinding it out a little bit. Napoli have already had the first shot of the game. We've offered nothing. The boys' confidence has gone. They are bereft of any kind of ability to play the ball to each other. We're going to pause it. We're already halfway through the first half. Granted, Napoli have only had the 1 effort, but we've had absolutely nothing. And we've had less possession than Napoli. In fact, we're going to throw out a shout to try and encourage the team. They've responded to it, although a lot of the players are quite unhappy with me because Johnny wants to move to a bigger club despite having spent the first 6 months of the season out on loan. Please tell me that one was offside. I'm fairly confident it was. Despite being on loan in America for 6 months, not at an MLS side. No. Against a team in America's 2nd tier, he's now come back thinking he's too good for Europa and wanted to move on. I've registered him for the squad and saw a part for him in the second phase of the season, so I told him he was going nowhere, and virtually the entire squad are disappointed that I'm not letting him move on to greener pastures. Anyway, that has dented morale a little bit. The players are not, they're just not on the same page as they were the back end of last season, where they just seem to have fluidity, where they just seem to be able to create chances for each other. Now everything seems a little bit clunky and a little bit forced. And we're creating chances like that where Diego Rosa is virtually on the edge of the box, trying to have a header at goal. I think we've nursed this game all the way through to half-time. We've had a shot on target and still have an XG of 0. Welcome to this season with Europa. After a first half as poor as that, a shot on target and an XG of 0, have you ever seen the likes? I've made a little sub at half-time. I've taken Dybala off. Dybala's announced that he's retiring at the end of this season. And I've subbed him out for Rossi, another veteran, but Rossi's going to play as a pressing forward rather than a deep lying forward. And let's see whether we can get a little bit more involved in this game. It's not been one for the fans, has it? With only 3 shots during the first 50 minutes. But on 50 minutes, we're into the highlights once more, and Napoli have got the ball deep in their half. They've still got some pretty decent players on their books, Napoli, including their right back, who's about 35 years old and is still quicker than any player we've got at the club. So we are playing a really decent team, and they're coming forward with Cambiasso, not Esteban. I don't think he would be, well, around about 55, I think. But they've got another Cambiasso in the team, as well as Ramirez, a Mexican new gen, and Llama, who I think got the first goal for Napoli in their comeback from 2-0 down when we were playing at the Diego Armando Maradona Stadium. This is a long highlight, which does make you worry. We've got it clear. We might be able to nick the ball and break. We haven't. Instead, Napoli have had an effort from the edge of the area. Barossi flies across his goal. It went wide anyway. And I think we might have to start thinking about some changes to the shape. We've got McComb on a 6.4. He has been wretched over the last few weeks. We've tied it up in terms of the match stats, although not the XG. I think we need another sub. And I think we also need to demand a little bit more. So Cordoba is our best player, but he's been awful. He's picked up a booking and he's on a 6.4. We've subbed him off for Kieran Murray. Maybe he could be able to get on the end of a chance and put us through to the next round. We've managed to rob the ball. Rasanis, a right-footed left-back, gives the ball away. We give the ball away so much at the moment. There is just no chemistry between the players that we've got on the pitch at the moment. But we have won the ball back. Milanese temporarily wins the ball back. Then he gives it away. And now they are in and they've got the ball through. Oh, and Rafa Mir. I thought he clipped the bar. I don't think he did. I think Barossi has tipped it over. We gave the ball away twice in that little passage of play. And Milanese could have brought the ball away and broke, but instead he heads it back to them. Fortunately, they're offside. We've got work to do in this game. 66 minutes. Milanese has gone over the top. Rossi is in, but he is slow. And he's been forced out wide. In the olden days, he might have just been able to have got away from that defender. Not at the age of 33, he can't. But we have got the ball to Murray, and we have got the ball to McComb, and he's had a great chance to score. 6 yards out, the keeper to beat his hit it straight at him. Although we are looking a little bit more lively now, aren't we? Diego Rosa, Pacheco, Milanese, Murray. He's got the ball through to McComb again. This guy is running on empty. But we are looking better. We're going to throw out a shout. We're playing better. So we'll encourage the team. And we're coming forward once more. Milanese, Pacheco. 17 minutes to go. Simão's got space over on the right and he could get a return ball. Milanese has actually dug one out. Rossi has a header. And it's not managed to trouble the keeper, really. We've got 15 minutes left. Napoli have got a corner. Can we break, or are they going to head themselves into the quarterfinals? They very nearly did. We've got one more sub up our sleeve. I think on 80 minutes we're going to make it. We're at that point now. Do we bring on Lander, or do we have a look at what else we've got on the bench? Alas, Lander has kept his tracksuit on. We've taken off McComb, who has been awful again. We've brought on Lutzi, who has been moderately less awful in recent weeks. And I think we've just gifted them a goal. The ref's come in to have a look at something. I don't think it's an offside, because we've got a player on the line and we could be in trouble here. The goal has been disallowed. It's got to be for, well, they're saying it's for offside. I can't see how. It's because he's beyond the goalkeeper. When you're ahead of the goalkeeper, you need two players to play you onside. Goodness me, I'm not sure we were checking the rule book when we were defending that. We've got incredibly lucky, but we're off again. Rossi's not going to beat anybody for pace, but he can keep the ball, but we've given it away again. We've won it back for how long? Murray, Rossi, here is Milanese. Oh, he's had a sight of goal. We have been doing okay since the half-time break, but this one could well be heading to extra time. We've got 2 minutes of injury time left. We've got a minute to play. We're into the highlights. Our goal kick, Simão, has gone long. I wish he hadn't. He's given the ball away. Rossi's won it. A goal here, and I think we're in. He's going very wide. He's got no support and no pace and no clue what he's doing. And instead we've got to defend. Almeida does it well. Somehow he's looking a little bit tired, I think, somehow. We had to give him 2 days off training in the week just to get him in for this game. And, oh my God, Rossi, I think, is offside. Is he? Oh, no, I think we've won a corner. I thought Rossi was just sat in his deck chair in an offside position there, but this is our last chance of the game. Milanese sends one over. Get on the end of it, boys. We haven't. And I think that is going to be all she wrote, and we're heading into extra time, tied at 0-0 with Napoli. It was a good second 45, but the players are tired. They've had 2 goals disallowed, by the way. Let's see what we can do in the final 30 minutes. So we've got 30 minutes of extra time, potentially penalties, although I'm not sure I could take that. And we are running on empty. Look at how tired these boys are. We could ease down on the pressing, I suppose. We might have to look at that in extra time. But I think if we stop pressing Napoli, we could be in all kinds of trouble. We could easily sub off another 7 players, I think. But Napoli got to be tiring too, I would have thought. They've been working hard during the second half. And here is somehow a goal now, and maybe we could just sit a little deeper and try and see out the game. Rosa's got the ball. Murray's got the ball. Rossi's got the ball. He's rolled back the years and the ref is running back to the halfway line. I thought Rossi might have been offside, but he might have done it one last time for Europa. The man of the hour is Alessandro Rossi. Pacheco's picked up the ball. Rosa gives Rossi a little pass. In fact, it's Murray that gives him the little pass. And he has belted that into the corner of the net. We're going to continue to press until half-time of extra time. And then we're going to assess just how tired these players are. They're actually playing pretty well out there now. And we've reached half-time in extra time. Can we cling on for the final 15 minutes and extend Begborough Steel a little bit further? Okay, 15 minutes to go. It was difficult to know what changes to make. I have dropped our wing-backs to full-backs. Hopefully that might provide us a little bit more solidity, but we need to sub off some of our players. Do we get an extra sub, by the way, during extra time? We might check that out. You never know. I might be able to make one more change and get at least some fresh legs on in that defence. But we've got defending to do first. Napoli slinging a deep cross. Oh my goodness, Borussia somehow fumbled it wide. And we've got more defending to do, and Borussia gets hold of it the second time. Let's check out that substitution. I think it could be a forlorn hope. Maybe it isn't, actually. I think we could confirm that change. Let's have a little think about what sub I actually want to make, because there's some pretty tired players out there. But could they help us see through the final few minutes of the game and see whether we can get all the way to full time? I could have taken off any of the back 4. I've gone with Rosanas, and Darba is on. And we might be about to sneak our way through. We have done it indeed. An extra time goal needed. But we've knocked Napoli out of the Europa League. Our first win in about 18 months, it feels like. And maybe that might just get the morale up. I think now we're going to stick with this 4-1-3-2 system. I think the days of tactical tinkering are over with. And we've now got to see who we're going to get in the last 8 of the Europa League. This is going to be the last season of Begborough Steel. But might it now just have a fairy tale ending yet to come?